tops. And we got three MEC teams. Shout out Shibby for coercing the selection committee. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Me and Travi were out of it. But now we're here. New Skarner already picked as we get underway. Game number 1. It's a best-of-3 series.
I'm actually really surprised that a Skarner got through right off the get-go. That champion's busted.
Yeah.
Actually really strong top, really strong jungle, and it gives me nightmares whenever it ganks my lane.
Looking just quickly through what was banned away, Illinois State University on the red side, Grandview on the blue side, our MEC second seed, Pluto in the support role gets 2 bans. Crazy! We've kind of said, Pluto, hey, you gotta kind of expand your bag a little bit. So what's also, I think, really interesting about this matchup and why bans are really exciting is because these are 2 of the best coaches in CLoL. Dreyer versus Command Attack in a chess match of League of Legends, and Command Attack's not holding back against Pluto.
No, absolutely not. You want to go ahead and slot yourself one in there. Pluto's a player who's been known for quite a bit of time, so we know what exactly they're going to do. They're really good at these engages. I'm actually surprised GVU is opting to leave their support wide open for them, and ISU lock in a Vayne. That is exciting to see.
Yeah. If you watched, what is it, Office Hours with Shibby? Or Study Hall with Shibby? On the Salty Runback channel.
Shout out to that.
Shout out to Shibby. We're missing you. Why couldn't he fly out all the way from California to North Carolina to come join us in the studio? What the heck? But anyway, I think this is going to be a Vayne top for Meslo on the side of ISU. This ain't going into the bot lane. This is Vayne top of potential counter into the Skarner matchup.
I like it just because of the idea of, like, if there's somebody who has to get in on you, Condemn is automatically has value, right? Like, that's why we saw when Urgot meta was a thing for a while. People were like, oh, Vayne top's pretty good because Urgot can never get in on you. It's great. So it's like, I get the idea. It's a very feast or famine, though, because you got to think, when you're playing a matchup like that, you get caked one time by this Lee Sin. Remember, this is Castle Lee Sin coming in here. This is a champion.
Castle year 2, Lee Sin.
Dude, every single time I talk to Castle, I'm like, yo, have you seen the patch notes? Did you enjoy the patch notes? And he goes, dude, were there Lee Sin buffs in there? No, I don't care then. So my man is ready to pop off.
Oh, wow. And thinking about this bot lane, I wouldn't be surprised if the mid lane goes ahead and gets locked in. You know you're going against Jin Qual's play. Orianna, something safe to go into it. This Lux is going to be going down into the bot lane, and it is a total mystery what ISU is going to save for that red 5 counter pick. They're so flexible in the bot lane. I think I remember Shibby talking about how there's kind of a 2 support setup for them. A lot of mage bot lanes, why we kind of saw Seraphine pop up, potentially Zillion as well. An engaged champion that was not banned away from our guy Pluto. Rel has been a champion that he's been able to rescue the Vikings in some matches. Hiding in a bush, you don't know where Pluto is, you gotta be careful because his ultimates on Rel, his engages, can absolutely transform the game.
Big thing to take note of now, though, is Nightstar. What are you going to play down here in the bot lane, right? They were inside of the Running the Rift Combine earlier on, and they were actually having some fantastic 1v9 performances. This is one of them. This is the Kog'Maw. You know me, I love some Kog'Maw, but this is a champion they also brought out in MEC season at one point in time too, and absolutely like 1v9 the entire game. It's crazy.
I think it was against Purdue Northwest, our MEC number 1 seed, and Nightstar showed up in a really fun match, and this is why I was thinking ISU is such a good play to save the support pick for Red 5. They lock in the Thresh, really good into the Rel, which is tough for Pluto, and really good to apply pressure on the Nightstar in the early game. GVU's got to be careful, man, because that Thresh is coming and you don't have a lot of mobility on the Kog'Maw.
This is a really weird composition, though, if you sit back and look at it from ISU. Well, it's not weird for them, but it is a Vayne top with a Lutz Thresh bot lane.
Yep.
That is not something normal. I feel like we can't go past this. And you were talking about earlier wanting to go for those mage bot lanes, those more mage-like performances. I've always said Lutz is one of those champions who's slept on. People keep thinking like, oh, it has to be a support.
Yeah.
But think about it. Lutz is a champion that function inside the support building mage items. What happens if you actually give gold to the Lutz, right? So it kind of goes back to the theory you were just talking about, where it's just like you do need to watch out with this bot lane because you get hit with one death sentence and it is
one binding.
You're done. Period. It's over.
It's over. Vince Carter. What's also interesting, I've seen on Lux going, Malignance. Your ultimate is on like a 20-second cooldown or something crazy. It is ridiculous. So I think it'll be kind of fun to watch just how kind of busted in, like potentially 2 Lux ultimates in a fight if it's extended is season 14, man. They've made some really interesting changes, and for me, we've been casting League for 5-7-ish. It's give or take, you know. So what's always fun for me is when the new seasons. I feel like still League is a refreshing game to cast, and with the items and stuff makes things interesting. It keeps us on our toes with keeping up with all the updates.
Especially because usually like right after this time period, like after CLoL and all that other stuff, after MSI happens, we go into a whole new patch and a whole new world. They love to throw in something to mess with us, and I am curious. You talked about some of the items and seeing like the Malignance start for the Lutz, which by the way, weird item because it gives you like cooldown haste. But some people don't care about the cooldown haste. No. Instead, they care about the magic shred pool that gets led underneath you, and it's just like, oh, I like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a really weird catch-22. Drew Dozer Jinquil is a big matchup. I'm actually really favoring in this matchup. I think that's going to be very fun to watch. We haven't really touched on it too much just because of the fact that when we look over at the matchup, right, we're like, all right, it's a pretty typical mid lane matchup. But still, between the two of them, they're both team players that kind of just do what's needed for their team. And carrying is never an issue for either one of them.
No, not at all. And on picks like these, it showcases a really special talent of the mid laners, I think. Orianna Shockwave Ultimate, a staple of competitive League of Legends, and Drew Dozer's going to have to showcase if he can ball out here in the national tournament. And then Jinquil, our MVP of the MEC for a good reason. I'll be watching his wave management. This is a wave management battle between 2 mid laners at their peak, and who's going to be in the right place at the right time for some of these fights, because it's Lee Sin Volibear in the jungle. There's going to be a lot of skirmishing in the river, fighting over early objectives. Which mid laner is going to get to those fights first?
I feel like another key to success is which jungler gets up to the top side of the map first. It is honestly, that's I think your easiest place to gank. Bot lane's actually pretty easy for ISU, so they have that option.
Yeah,
that one's a no-brainer. But like you go over the top side and you're like, all right, but there's also this giant raid boss of a scorpion picking up rocks and trying to hit the vein. All you got is this crossbow, right?
Yep.
You got bolt for days, but you don't get the vein ahead.
No.
It does find itself being tricky, and I do think Vayne top is one of the more niche picks you could ever see inside of like collegiate top laners.
But it's in Meslow's comfort zone. He brought it out in the North playoffs against Northwood. So it's a staple. I'm sure this has been kind of creeping up in solo queue with the Skarner changes, with just overall changes. So while it's kind of new in Season 14, I'm really excited to see how the players kind of showcase around it. And for me, it comes to, sure, the top laners are experienced in the matchup, but how are the junglers going to really go for in the top lane? You're talking about applying pressure to the top lane early on. Condemn is, you mentioned it before, such a unique ability. Meslo has an opportunity to completely throw off ganks, avoid, so it's a skill matchup that is going to be, I think, really fun to watch.
I just like seeing Lee Sins when they know what they're doing.
Like
I'm a simple man.
Yeah.
I see a player who's like, I like this champion, say, I want to play Lee Sin, and I'm like, bet, I'm sold. I'm here for it. So That might be a little bit of the MEC bias. I also really like the idea that we both have two hyperscalers inside this game, even though weirdly enough they're on opposite sides.
Yeah.
Because we got the Vayne in the top side, but we have the Kog'Maw as well, and you know me, like I've said before, I'm a big fan of Kog'Maw. I've got a killer Kog'Maw impression, you know that. So it's just one of those things where I love Kog'Maw. First character I ever bought in League of Legends. I'm glad that we're getting to see a little bit of a resurgence from Nightstar. But we're going to go ahead and throw it on over to a short little break. And when we come back, we're going to be going into the game. So make sure you do not touch that browser as we will be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome on back to the nitty gritty of everything. We're ready to get into some more collegiate action as we're ready to get into our game number 1 here between GVU and ISU as we are getting ourselves situated. Mac, are you ready? Because there's already a 5 stack up in the top side.
Say it ain't so. Not on my boy Lenient Proctor. Come on. He's looking for a new team outside of GVU. He don't. Come on, this is for the scouts.
Linear Project is, he's just chilling. He's not going to get caught out. He kind of sniffed it out. Player that we haven't really talked about too much inside of it because we were like, oh, Skarner top, broken champion, kind of cool. It's also just the fact that Skarner top is just a lenient proctor, aka strict proctor, has been this consistent solid rock. Remember, this is a person who lane swapped from support over into the top side of the map and has just been so steady for this team.
Absolutely. Something interesting that I'm noticing, I'm a big, as a color analyst, I'm going to look at the runes a little bit. Skarner with Fleet Footwork instead of Arcane Comet's a little interesting, but I'm thinking in the Vayne matchup, it'll help him chase down Meslo a little bit easier, but something super interesting here, Travi. In all of our MEC experience, we have never seen a lane swap this season, but here we are, GVU, round 1, top 32. They're sending Lenient Proctor into the bot lane as Pluto and Nightstar head up into the top side.
This is intriguing. So now
this is crazy.
honestly, I'm a big fan of it, but you know, you could to reverse this. You actually see what they're doing. They're sending over the Thresh. So
oh my god, it's going to be Vayne Thresh top.
It actually works out fine. You're just playing the standard matchup now.
Oh my, this is too funny, man. This is what I look forward to most in the CLoL National Tournament. I mean, these are the best teams in US and Canada going head to head, and seeing how, I mean, these teams don't often play against each other. They're coming out of the gate, but funny enough, these are two teams that have faced each other before. Last year, I believe GVU lost 0-2 against the Redbirds here, so a little bit of a potential revenge match as GVU, they had pretty much everyone return to the roster. As you mentioned before, Proctor new into the top lane, long-standing top laner Prank moved on over to an MEC rival and took down his former team to win the championship. Now, GVU still finding themselves in the national tournament. Can they find success with a new rock in the top lane?
Well, big thing to note is the fact that GVU looks like so far they do get to kind of play their strategy. One thing that benefits a lot of these teams that are able to learn how to do these lane swaps, which I bet that they've learned it a lot, especially because like a lot of these players were inside the combine I was talking about earlier on. A lot of these collegiate talents were up here. There was a lot of lane swaps inside the combine. So a lot of people got experience with coaches in being able to learn it through many different varying perspectives.
Yeah.
And for a team like GVU, I like this strategy. I'm glad that they are the ones that initiate this, because this is a team that usually pops off within the 16-minute mark to the 20-minute mark, right? That's usually when GVU takes control of the game.
We'll see. Junglers on the same side of the map, but it's Euphoria who's really come through here and raced through the jungle. I think he actually had some help from Nausicaa on the Thresh, leashing and helping sort of accelerate that clear speed here. So he's going to head over back onto the top side of the map. Already camps have been refreshed. A quiet early game, as you mentioned before. I think this is the pace that GVU really wants to go for. Hopefully the Kog'Maw with lethal tempo going to be able to actually outrange Meslo in these team fights, as well as potentially melt down these tanks a little bit easier. So fun start to the match. In the mid lane, our marquee matchup, Jinqual versus Drew Dozer, who's going to be coming out on top here. So far, the mages playing the early game even, but a hook connects.
Yeah, this is a big play. Beautiful flash. Gets out of range from the Volibear, but still in hot pursuit. Won't be able to finish anything off, but beautiful flash there coming out from Pluto. Did not get condemned against the wall in the worst of positions.
That was a crazy flash. I thought he was dead to rights for a moment there, Travi, but luckily gets out of turret range, which I think is huge, and the ignite isn't enough. Mr. Castleberry's up here trying to respond. He's going to go for these Krugs. No teleport. Tempos actually. Oh, wow. It's Drew Dozer teleporting up here. We might get a fight.
Oh, yeah. Nobody saw that. It's okay. It's okay. You know what? I like the idea. I like the imagination that came with that play. I was just like, they foresaw the play. They were
He
like,
has Hex Flash.
Yeah.
It's winnable. 5-minute cooldown. He'll be back.
He flashed. but you know what? Good idea. Unfortunately, the execution is not exactly what you would like in that situation. GVU, though, they don't lose anything out of that. Big thing about Thresh, right? No sustain, so keep an eye on if that might be able to play a factor as we go into this game. They're going to just continue these swaps around. This time the Oriana's top side.
This is wild. And keep in mind, Travi, Tempos on the Lux actually has teleport here. So ISU, despite Meslo going Ghost on the Vayne, they still are able to match the teleport summoner spells. So both teams with a similar amount of flexibility on the map. As the junglers shake hands, they're going to be trading the initial neutral objectives. GVU going to grab 3 Void Grubs, and ISU going to start the Dragon stacking, which, as we're thinking, this game might be going into the late game. I wonder if Dragons are going to be a higher priority here, but early on, let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. Meslo on the Vayne, 37 CS. The lane swap that GVU wanted to prioritize is coming up pretty huge.
Which is weird because of the fact of they did just say, all right, we'll throw our support top side. But there is a range advantage. Kog'Maw is able to exploit that. But there might be something else that might get exploited here. It's looking like it's going to be that Oriana taking a good amount of damage. Just forces a TP out from the Lux.
Great.
And now mid lane is open season. They just get the summoner and retreat.
That works. Jinqual is going to come back. Again, this is a wave management game and something that Jinqual honestly really succeeds at. It looks like he's moving really fast in the river. He's got... No, we're looking at someone else's summoner spell, or runes on the left side. I was like, does Jinqual have water walking? But I'm not 100% sure. Hui with his water abilities, it's kind of hard to tell if in the river it's that if it's that speed buff movement or if he's got something. But he does have upgraded boots, so maybe that's why he's moving all over the map super quickly. Tempos actually roams back down, catches the mid wave, ends up working out okay. So here we are, back to the grind, Travi. Still no kills in the national tournament. Only a best of 3. Win or go home. Players are on edge. They don't want to make any mistakes. And while they're trying to be proactive, we have seen some aggressive attempts. I don't think they're afraid to make plays, but no one wants to here in such a pivotal match.
I mean, you got so much range into your, like, the people who are going to be starting to play this off are going to be the Thresh, the Volibear on one side, and you got the Lee Sin and Rel on the other side, looking to probably start off some plays, right? Skarner's kind of just like, all right, yeah, I'm in lane swap duty. I think the interesting thing for me, too, is ISU have just been rotating out their solo lane assignments. So they had the Vayne Thresh for a bit, saw that wasn't really working for them, so they put Vayne back bot by themselves, and that didn't really work. Well, they put them mid, then they went bot, and now they're back top when the lane swap's not over just yet.
No.
So GVU's
they're just getting started.
GVU's doing the same strategy. They haven't changed, but ISU is constantly, like, shuffling around. This might be a recipe for disaster.
Castle's got level 6. Meslo does have both summoner spells available. Nausicaa's coming up, but Pluto with the ultimate.
Hits the Magnet Storm. They're going to go ahead. Dragon Rage kick comes on through. That's first blood for Nightstar on the Kog'Maw, but the action's not done just yet. Nausicaa said, I'll get this play. I'll get you with the hook. Finds themselves out a kill. Gives a little bit of an assist over to the Vayne up into the top side. 1-for-1 trade.
What an alpha move here from Nausicaa, making sure that Meslo does not go down without retribution there. But to me, the damage is already done. Kill over to Nightstar. The wave completely lost. Meslo level 7 in what was supposed to be a top lane Vayne. I feel like things for ISU have not gone according to plan, but there is still much left to be played in this match. Pivotably, GVU take advantage of getting to level 6, Pluto and awesome ultimate, helping make that play happen. And Castle, that flash kick, man, that's why he was up there in the MEC All-Pro teams.
Likes to make those plays happen. Look no further. You're seeing that range from the Kog'Maw, by the way, coming in, laying in a good amount of hurt. As we're kind of in a stable spot, keep an eye out for some of these roams that could possibly come in. Volibear said, hey, yo, Lee Sin came up here? It's my turn. Unfortunately for this Volibear, there is nobody else who's going to stay around. Nightstar and Pluto are not going to want to stay when they see a Volibear coming in the vicinity.
It looks like Jinqual actually has a little bit of a level lead. Same with, oh no, Tempos is level 9 on the Lux as well. Objective's going to be spawning shortly. Void Grubs. Looks like Castle moving up onto the top side of the map. hoping to prioritize. Pingin on the way is going to get spotted by the Trinket Ward. Teleports not quite available. Drew Dozers is coming up shortly, but here are the Grubs.
Grubs have spawn. Major objective to go ahead and grab for yourself. They'll be able to get this completely uncontested, right? The Threshbane just want to catch up on some of the farm that they've missed out on. You talked about the ed speed, that rotating around to the solo laners, constantly moving around and saying, all right, my turn to have a duo lane partner, has affected those levels a little bit.
Yep.
And it's also affected a little bit of the gold, right? Like GVU has found themselves a nice little incremental lead because of the fact that they're staying true to where they want to go. They're spending less time moving around the map and playing things the way they want to.
Nightstar, bit of a lead over Tempos and Meslo. The gold exactly going where GVU was hoping for. Hex Flash coming out. Pluto and Castle looking to make a play on the top side of the map. Dragon is up in the focus of the Redbirds.
Guys peeled. Castle wants it. Sees everything that could possibly go about, and they're like, let me get it. Death Sentence doesn't find its mark. They're going to be able to trade. Bots been dropped. Open it up, see what's inside. It looks like it's going to be a tower dive. They're going in, laying in the hurt. Huey's over here, and Jinqual has had enough, throwing out some hot fire with those fireballs over onto the side, enough to be able to zone them off, and now it's just going to be 1v4 underneath the tower. Dragon Rage kick, and Castle takes down Meslo. Death Sentence is able to hit onto the Jinqual here, but Jinqual is A-okay with this. It's completely fine. Whose Death Sentence is it? It's going to be ISU's.
What a play from GVU. The roam from Drew Dozer is not enough to turn the play around. Nightstar flashes away from the shockwave right in time to keep making that play happen. You said you wanted to see a lot of early aggression on the top side of the map, Travi. Little did you know it was going to be Nightstar and Pluto making those plays for GVU up there.
You know what? I'm happier that there's a ball getting going. Instead of a Skarner, I'm like, yo, you know what? You're not shutting down the Vayne in that degree that I thought it was going to be, but 0-2 for Meslo now, and Meslo is one of those people, they love to be in these carry positions. It's not over for them. They've been in deficits. They've been camped before. They're very, very familiar with how these kind of games can turn out and how to come back from those, so we'll have to just keep our eyes peeled, see how the recovery goes. We're going into that 15-minute mark here shortly, and I feel like that's usually, I talked about it, that's my GVU timer. That's usually where I'm looking for the first major team fight for GVU where they try to assert their dominance.
Let's see, Nightstar and Pluto sticking on the top side of the map for good reason. Rift Herald going to be spawning shortly as the game continues to trudge on. Jinqual's the one going up against Meslo up in the top lane, and sort of classic, you know, after first turret goes down, safe place for Nightstar to be is the shortest lane on the map. Stick him in mid, hopefully keep him away. During the draft, we talked about Tempos and Nausicaa, this brutal duo of Lux Thresh being able to pressure the Kog'Maw, but with this lane swap, ISU has found zero pressure on to GVU star ADC. Mr. Mark Gonzalez himself is having a great game. As Rift Herald comes up, we might get that team fight you're talking about, Travi.
Yeah, they want to position for this one. You can see ISU has 4 members coming in through the river. Lutz coming out of base. So they're going to be a little bit far off on the play, but they do have that final spark that will allow them
the
to
Hex
still
Gate.
participate. They're looking for it, and it will just be all 5 members coming around. Skarner on the flank. Probably needs to be a little bit cautious. We'll eat up a little bit of damage, but here is the fight finally. They find it, and it's a final spark. Pluto's like gets snuffed out as a result. Good catch from ISU.
Ultimate, there's Proctor!
Got him. Nightstar gets the kill for themselves. They're going to go ahead and fight him underneath the tower. Polar Bear, next victim up on the list. Cross him on off. GVU's going to find Tempos, and they're just continuing. Member after member, the HP bars are getting melted inside the fight. They overplay their hand, and ISU get punished.
Wow, what even happened there, Travi? You blink, you might have missed it, and GVU take over in the mid-game. You talked about it right before. We check our scripts holding up pretty well here. That 15-minute GVU fight happens like clockwork, and even though Nightstar goes down, you can still rely on that MVP in the mid lane. Jinqual provided the DPS, a huge team fight threat. Has himself a great moment there, stays safe. Even though Nightstar was the focus, GVU's got more than one threat, but Pluto, gotta be careful, man. You cannot keep getting caught out. Even though the team just won a 4v5 fight, right? I mean, it was kind of crazy from GVU to pull that out. Really impressed with what they've been able to do so far. And shout out Lenient Proctor, a.k.a. Strict Proctor, a.k.a. the Rock in the top lane for the Vikings, having a massive play, catching out Meslo with his ultimate.
Big thing to notice now from ISU, we got to see a little bit of a taste of it. The burst damage that comes out, their profile has so much burst into it. So they can take down one individual member very, very quickly. They can burst an entire team if they line up, right? Like, they have that ability.
Yep.
But they don't have consistent DPS because the Vayne, Meslo has not been having a great game, so they are a bit behind on the item curve. They just finished their Blade of the Ruined King. They're going to be a while before we start to see this Vayne be a consistent damage threat inside of these games. And remember, this is a low-range, high-execution marksman that's going to be your consistent DPS. And ISU, they have this burst profile. But how do you engage and get into the back line when they just kind of kite things back? What just happened? Hold up. What happened to Jin Quo? What's happened to bot lane? Strict Proctor has to run for the hills. It looks like they got caught out in a bad scenario.
No way.
They go for the
Look at him
impale.
go!
The heart steal's not enough, though. It gets kited out beautifully. And the Volibear comes out on top. 2 people picked up in the bot lane by GVU.
Dang. What? Proctor and Jin Qual. There's so much engage, and you're talking about the burst profile. That comes with a really solid engage for the Redbirds, and they're actually going to go on Dragon Soul Point here at the 17.5-minute mark. I talked about before, focusing the Dragons versus the Grubs. GVU getting a lot of gold, but the Redbirds are staying in this game, and it's still a long way from being over. What a pick there from the Redbirds to catch out GVU not paying attention in the bot lane. And Proctor, he almost took down Meslo. It was close there for a second. This Skarner can really do some special things out on the map. Really good game design. Really fun to watch. And no, but legit, most jokes aside, I feel like big meme, 200 years of gameplay experience, but overall,
different champion.
We haven't seen Strict Proctor on the Skarner at all. I mean, it was a new champion, wasn't available in the MEC playoffs, so to be able to play it at a high level here at the national tournament, kudos to him on his grind, trying to show up here for GVU.
Strict has said they've wanted to prove people wrong, right? I've been a critic of them for their champion pool. They sent me a DM saying, "Hey, watch me," and you know that's been Proctor. Proctor wants to show people up. He doesn't want to be known as just like your Cassante Udyr player, right? Or your Ornn, right? Like they want to be able to pick up a new champion. So this Skarner is beautiful to see. GVU still have the gold lead. That is an effort of them grabbing Herald, the Grubs, having that lane swap go into their benefit. Their strategy to start things off have given them that benefit. But as you were talking about earlier, Mac, we now are in a situation, Soul Point, that is something that cannot be shown inside of any kind of gold graph you can get. And now ISU, they do have themselves a window in to be able to, you know, add into this burst profile, this pick that they can pull off. And all it takes is one misposition for Nightstar, and all of a sudden, it turns disasterific.
Euphoria's got to be careful. So much move speed on the Volibear. He's got the blue smite, so from those bushes, he can really, it's the blue suede shoes for moving around.
Benefit of choosing Squirtle.
So we'll see. That probably caught GVU off guard a little bit in the bot lane. Proctor, no teleport in the side lane at the moment, but can we get a quick highlight over the Lux ultimate cooldown at the moment with Malignance and Fiendish Codex online? It's all 18. Wait, what?
18 seconds.
Cool. Under 30
so
second ultimate.
30 second ultimate.
That's
and remember,
great.
it resets.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it does now. Why did they? That is absurd.
That's why I said this is one of those champions that doesn't need Malignance for the cooldown reduction on the ultimate. They just want it because it's big magic shred underneath your feet. Your toesies, they're getting ate up. You're trying to dance out of the pool. Yeah, it's literally the floor is lava. So it's just, it gives you that extra little bit of an impact inside of it when you're playing more of this AP carry. And GVU, I like what they're doing with their strategy here. You've noticed they've been positioning around this Baron quite hard. They're just looking for one person to make a misposition, especially this Lutz or this Vayne. They spot either one of them, hey, yo, it's on.
And both teams have a really fast Baron taking composition 20 seconds, if that, maybe less, for the Vayne, for the Kog'Maw to melt through the objective, which can absolutely transform the game. But the timer is ticking, Travi, just under 100 seconds before the Redbirds are hunting the dragon, the final one to complete the quadfecta of dragons to get the dragon soul. Let's see, the Vikings going to be looking for Baron before that point. They don't want to have to worry about the dragon Baron trade, so they're going to go for the objective first. But Pluto,
yeah, Pluto caught out of position, but they don't have any of the people to be able to burst. This composition relies so much on having this Lutz Orianna to be there to be able to apply that burst. So they don't get it. This does peel GVU off of the Baron. And now their answer is going to be to go back. You do not take that. ISU, good on you. No, it's good. Because if you went in, that was it. That was it. You're gone.
Come on. You got the pick. You can play him.
No, stop it. You need to stop it,
Give
Mac.
someone a lantern. Bring them in too.
Then 2 people die, Mac. Okay?
I can't let the instinctive thoughts win. I just want to
Intrusive.
There it is.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
every single time you land an ability like that, it goes right back to Elite Syndrome, where it's just like, my mind's telling me no,
but my
body's telling me yes.
All right, 20 seconds on the dragon. Baron is up. The Vikings and the Redbirds in the mid lane. It's
ARAM! They go into him. Pluto's going to be the first member to be able to drop. They miss out on the impel. Strip Proctor doesn't hit anybody with the ultimate, but it's still running wild onto the rift as they're continuing to chase down the opposition, forcing the flash out from the Vayne. And ISU, they get 1 pick to the name. They're going to retreat as a result. Half HP dropped on 2 key members.
Go Dragon.
Dragon has spawned up. There is no teleport on the play for the Vayne. They're going to have to just walk it on back. Thunderbolts are being dropped in, and lightning is striking all over it. It's artillery. It's looking like a war field inside of this game as it's just the Thresh. Barely able to survive through the onslaught of the poke, and now ISU have reclaimed control over the river. 4 members strong, 4 members deep, but Pluto has rejoined into the fight. Could possibly
my
be looking
gosh!
for the
What
headset
is he
portal
doing?
going in.
Oh my
The magnet pull goes in massive, finding the pick, finding the play. They're able to lay in so much, but Strip Proctor is going to be the one who gets knocked and dropped inside of the game as they're just able to find that kill. But hey, GVU. They're going to be able to find their
Smite
prize
fight.
they're wanting for.
Smite
Is
fight,
it
Travi.
The 50-50. They want to try and get the pick onto the Volibear. They're going to
they
be able
do
to
it.
succeed at doing just that. Euphoria goes down. The Flay over onto the side, being able to bring Castle into play. That's a shutdown going over as Nightstar's continuing to fire off free damage.
no mana.
Jinqual, no mana against this
It don't
Vayne,
matter. It
and
don't matter.
doesn't matter as he just takes on out Meslo GVU. What a massive fight between both these sides as they just somehow come out on top. That was chaos, man.
I'm losing my mind, Travi. The Hex Gates are out on the map, and it is enabling these 2 teams to do some absolutely absurd macro shot calling. Euphoria, Meslo, they recall after the first fight. Take the Hex Gate. They're right back in it before the next dragon spawns, and then Pluto comes out of absolutely nowhere, also using the Hex Gates. 3-man ultimate, but then the explosive cone knocks everyone away. And as you mentioned, it is utter chaos. But at the end of the day, GVU, they hold about a 5,000 gold lead, 5.5, and they secure the dragon. The Redbirds do not get the dragon soul. And now the Vikings have 4 minutes to play around Baron Nashor with their 2-item Kog'Maw. Let's see if they can keep things rolling and secure the next objective.
The carries are the scariest part from GVU. At this current moment in time, you're looking over at a Jinqual and Kog'Maw. They're looking kind of like raid bosses on the other side, right? They're looking like they are a tandem effort that you're going to have to take down. And GVU's core, this is where GVU fires on all cylinders as a team, is when they have Jinqual Nightstar mid-game feeling as strong as
3
they are
items
right
on
now. This is exactly where GVU wants to be. This is GVU's type of play style. No hook going to be able to connect. And now GVU just playing a slow style as ISU have to walk through the darkness of this fog of war.
Absolutely
Oh,
scary.
no!
Another hook. Pluto 2
The
stuns.
play, they're going for it. Final Spark misses its mark as well. And that's going to be Nautica. Drop down, Volibear. You can run for the hills, but you're going to have to overcome a mountain and over onto the back side of the fight. You can see the damage was being laid out. Oriana trying to pick up some kills. Hui gets out the Volibear. Jungler gone. Support gone. Baron next up on the list for GVU.
Meslo does not have teleport. He's going to try to get some much-needed solo gold in the bot side of the map. Jinqual not going to use teleport to try and clear the wave. Drew Dozer, no ultimate. Tempos, final spark available. Can they pull a miracle?
Oh, that was so close. It makes your heart go. Oh, but it is still going to be the play secured. Baron secured. GVU are trying to see if they can secure themselves a window to close out the game in this net slit step.
8,000 gold, but at the rate this game is going, with the team fighting tools and burst profile that you've been harboring on, Travi, ISU, they can catch out these carries of GVU very, very easily. Nightstar, super squishy. Flash coming up shortly. Deep breaths. Dragon, 2 minutes. Can GVU use the Baron power play to set themselves up to not worry about this upcoming Dragon fight for the Redbirds? It feels like if they can slow things down just a little bit, a Hextech Soul would turn the tables very quickly. Nausicaa, Euphoria, they're the playmakers that got to come through clutch with a big engage. Can they find the carries? Really solid positioning from Nightstar. He don't give a heck about clearing the wave. He's trying to make sure he doesn't get caught out, as well as using the artillery to try and scout out some of these carries. Here's the fight,
Check out
Travi.
the side wave. They're going for it, but that is not the fight you wanted to be. You saw a fire shooter ran on out of there. That's Volibear off of the map. Jinqual on a rampage, aptly named. Looking for those resonating strikes, trying to see if they'll be able to find a little bit of a play. They're going for it, and he's zooming on in. Proctor feeling good. Gets that impale. Bring him on in. Final spark comes through, and Skarner gets dropped as a result. It's now 4v4. Baron buff on
Nightstar
GVU.
going.
They're looking to just continue hitting out these shots, and this is the price you have to pay when you're against this type of competition. You are just getting hit with the siege over and over. It's a battering ram, but they went in a little bit too deep. GVU trying to retreat on into the base. ISU, go ahead, run it on back, get out, try to find some sort of sanctuary. You will find none on the rift, as GVU is just trying to take out all stragglers.
Hey, Vikings realize we've got Dragon coming up in 30 seconds. The inhibitor is not worth enough compared to the potential Hextech Soul. Nightstar could be able to heal up off of the red buff, and Travi, catch your breath now. 15 seconds. We've got another huge team fight coming in hot. Nausicaa.
Oh no, Nausicaa gets caught out of position. They went in for the death sentence, but it was just them digging their own grave
Pluto.
on the flank onto
No
the side.
way.
Pluto wants that big engage. They're going to be able to find the pick on the Jinqual as a result, though. Pluto was a little bit too slow on the play. Madness Storm
Nightstar
comes
still
in.
there.
They're pulling in two key members. Nightstar just free firing inside the fight, and Strip Proctor finds Euphoria. Next up on the list, cross out this Oriana if you can, but they're just able to command attack their way on out of this situation. They're finding themselves in between the minions, but yo, you got somebody drifted on through. Strip Proctor got that initial D music playing in their ears as they continue to chase down this Oriana.
Deja vu. I've hit this face before.
They're just continuing to go for it, and there it is. It had to happen. Drew Dozer was gone, no matter what you wanted to say.
Meslo, ultimate is available. Nightstar, not a lot of mana. Condemn into the wall.
Oh, yep, get the jump, and this is where Vayne can be so deadly. They can find the 1v1. Nightstar got a little uncharacteristically confident, I feel like, in that one. Overly confident.
Still, though, GVU, they navigate the Baron power play successfully. They get the dragon. Redbirds still have to wait for the next dragon if they hope to come back into this game. Critically, Jinqual death actually pretty huge because he bought a Medjai's Travi. He's feeling himself in this game. So that stacks get reset. He goes back from, I think, like 18 all the way down to 4, which is a little tragic for the GVU fans out here. But they're still in a very strong position, almost 9,000 gold ahead, but not wanting to make any mistakes. This is a team that during the MEC regular season and even in playoffs we've praised a lot of times for their abilities to close out games, but against the Redbirds, Nautica's looking to make a play happen in the mid lane.
Oh, the pick doesn't happen. They were looking for it. That could have been an ideal situation. They will be able to grab this tower. This is an objective bounty. We'll give them a little bit more gold, resuscitate themselves a little bit. ISU are not saying die, but Proctor might be trying to tell them it as he goes in, drifts in, gets that impale, finds one key member. Volibear has to use the ulti to get away. Meslo also said that the final hour is here. They thought the team fight was going to happen, but GVU wisely back off.
I'm on edge in this one, Travi. What a match we've had to start off our CLoL coverage here. This is just round one. Things are just going to continue to get more and more exciting as the tournament ranges on. Hexgates, especially in this one, creating a lot of map movement chaos, but GVU turn their attention to the bottom side of the map, trying to cash in, get that inner tower gold, and maybe recall we got Baron coming up in about 37 seconds. Another potential team fight, and again, the Redbirds, they've been allowed to scale up. Meslo's on 3 items. He's level 16. And we are far away from the early game, but GVU still ahead.
Oh, they want the pick. They want the smoke. They find themselves going in a little bit
going
deep,
hard.
but check out Pluto in the backside of the fight. Castle takes out the Volibear. That's Euphoria. Dropped as well, and the lightning bolts in the back line. Jinqual does not miss. They continue to press forward, going on to the Lutz, and yet again, that lightning does not miss. Again, the Lutz gets dropped, and over onto the top side of the map. Meslo has to retreat, get back to the base, try and protect it, as you have 2 inhibitors that could possibly fall on down. It is the Nexus that's going to be brought. They're focusing all their attention, the Impale onto the Vayne. GVU are looking to bring the pain as they continue and grasp and tear apart this base. It's looking absolutely ravaged as GVU will take game number 1.
Wow, don't need Baron. Don't need to worry about the Dragon Souls in this one, Travi. GVU close it out cleanly, and what a match it was for them. This ought to be some of the cleanest gameplay we've seen from them all season long. Dreyer has got the boys prepped and ready for the highest stage CLoL competition has to offer, and they take game number 1 in this best-of-3 series. We've got some exciting matches ahead of us, and we can only hope the rest are as good as this one.
I mean, this is the second seed from MEC, getting a little bit of vengeance, as you were talking about. So, you know what? I'm happy for the boys over in MEC, but you know what? I want that full series because they've already shown us that they can captivate us inside a game. So let's go ahead and get ourselves ready for ourselves to get into a game number 2. We're going to take a short little break, and when we come back, we'll be going into our next game. So make sure you do not touch that browser. Welcome back, everyone, to the road to the Collegiate Championship, right? We're starting off our journey here. GVU getting to have a very, very good game number 1 for themselves. Picking up that dub, ISU looking to answer back. I'm Travis C. I'm joined here with Matt Dewey. Mac?
In person.
Let's
Let's go. Look at that.
Hey!
We don't
that's
get that
us.
very often. Very exciting to be able to do this. Shout out UNC Esports, our lovely current production manager, running things behind the scenes, making us look very pretty, at Podslim, a.k.a. Mr. Blake Hawkins. Love you, my guy. At Podslim Cat, we'll hopefully get you on the stream as well here. But we got to do our MEC boys right on, and GVU. They get Skarner again. Proctor looked fantastic on it. In thinking back to game number 1 for just a moment here as the draft begins to unfold, GVU played a trump card. The surprise lane swap on Meslow's Vayne. Now the Redbirds in command attack. Coach has got to get the team straight. What are they going to do here in game number 2? They're going back to Tempos' Lux.
Still focusing on Lutz. Lutz wasn't bad inside the last game,
No.
right? Like, we did see that quite a bit. The Lutz was doing just fine, but the Ari actually grabbed in. You're locking that in blind. There are some champions, but mostly Ari kind of just does what she wants to do. This tells me they are wanting to lean more into that pick composition that we saw them trying to utilize in the last game.
And something big for Ari, especially in this marquee matchup between Jinqual and Drew Dozer. For Drew Dozer, in terms of, I mean, for me, wave management was really big, and we get the Jinqual Akali. That's a treat. But something big to consider for the Ari lock-in is she gets wave management spikes 1 to 2 levels earlier than a lot of other mid laners. So potentially, and this is a Euphoria specialty, the Kindred jungler coming out. Very exciting. This is a rather completely different composition for ISU. Switching from Volibear Orianna over to Kindred Ari. How's that going to change their gameplay style? Should affect things, and as you were talking about before, the pick composition potentially coming through. I wonder, what are your thoughts? You're giving me the thinking man face.
Ari, my first thought was like, yo, Jinqual's just going to play Akali.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, Jinqual just plays Akali, cool, because I'm just like, one thing that I like to play whenever I see an Ari on the other side when I play mid is I like to just play something that I can just like hard stomp them and make the Ari just regret everything. Assassins are really good at that, and Jinqual's Akali is nasty.
Yeah.
I was also puzzled because Kindred into Lee Sin, normally Lee Sin is actually seen traditionally as like a little bit of a counter because you can kick the Kindred out of their land respite. So it's just like, it's very interesting. Even though it's comfort, it does show that ISU in what could be their final game here, they're saying, all right, we're going to things that are comfortable for us. We want the Lutz, we want the Ari, we want the Kindred. Wonder what else they have.
The Nautilus BAM
Is
not
Braum.
Nautilus, which is actually really critical for GVU. And there's a Braum ban, which is going to be Nautilus? Braum. They okay, so same supports band at the end of the day.
Just different people banning them.
Shout out LOL, draft LOL. You know, we'll get it figured out eventually. You know, user error. We could do everything from a code perspective, but sometimes
Sometimes it gets a little iffy.
no way.
There's no way they're gonna lock that in. No. If you lock in a Yone into Skarner, your life is miserable. I'm just telling you that right now. I actually think that should be completely their favor. So we'll see exactly what they have as we're going through here. But Camille, lock in.
Yeah.
This is a champion that has been kind of slept on for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I actually wonder how it will
No
do
way.
into Skarner. If it is a Smolder, this just fits in the Nightstar strategy here. I actually would really like to see a Smolder in this matchup.
Okay, I have no idea what to believe anymore.
Nightstar Draven?
I don't think that's legit. For as much as Hyper likes to mess with us at draft law,
Hyper's not the one doing
I
it.
know Hyper's not here. I'm
Hyper's
still
not here.
scarred. All jokes aside, Nightstar I don't think has a single Draven game.
So here's the thing about Nightstar. Nightstar has probably the deepest and most comfortable AD carry pool inside a collegiate. Like, it's very deep. We put that together with Renata. This is a really devastating combo because the bailout plus cash out on Draven. A lot of times when you try to execute early plays on Draven, Draven will die. And he will be like, you'll be this close on life. You'll be hanging on an edge. It's always close early. So I love this Renata pairing because now you get the bailout and the cash in.
It's what we really hope for from every casino, but you really don't get it when you go to Vegas. So Nightstar gets the Dream Vegas trip. We get a lovely Bard pick for you, Travi. That's very exciting. A Lux Bard bot lane, a lot of sustain, a lot of range, and potentially a lot of damage and burst coming out of that. ISU Redbirds, we talked about it kind of before, kind of thinking about, what this team's going to be locking in, what command attack is going to cook up for his draft stew. It's a team that has roughly irregular compositions, and this is another one where I don't think we've ever seen something like this before, but it's still, hey, it's going to work. They're going to try to pull it off, and we'll see. What do you think, Travi?
The weird thing that's going on, right, and this is what I am stuck on, is I look over and I'm like, ISU's composition relies on somebody besides the bot lane to draft a 80 carry somewhere. We have a Kindred inside the jungle. Last game it was the Vayne top. They are completely relying on this. And the interesting thing that comes about from this now, because with Bard into the midst, Bard is not a laner. Bard is a roamer.
Right.
It's going to so it's rough. It's hard out there. You're playing probably Lutz solo for a good portion of this lane into Draven Renata. Like this is I like the gauntlet that's
And
been thrown
Nausicaa's
here.
just like, hey man, have fun. I'll catch you.
Yeah,
I'll catch
Nausicaa's
you later. I got some chimes over. I hear something. I hear someone calling me from over.
I gotta go get some milk.
I'm getting
Actually,
a
I got a
phone
text.
call.
There's a call. You know what? Hey, you do you. I'll be back. Hey, just stay right there. I'll be back. Sure. Dude, how do you stop this from happening? Because Bard has laning presence, but this is weird. This is a weird one for me.
GVU, they surprised me in game number 1 with the lane swap. I know you were talking about in the Running the Rift Combine. You kind of saw that unfold, but during the regular season at MEC, definitely didn't see it at all. So GVU learning, adapting, bringing something fresh into CLoL National Tournament, and they continue to do so with a bot lane that we haven't really seen from Nightstar and Pluto. But as you mentioned, the synergy between the champions as well as the players, shout out Nightstar and Pluto, have been playing together for 2 years at least now at this point. So we'll see how it works with them playing this kind of fresh composition. Are they going to continue to be able to surprise the Redbirds and potentially close this series out? You mentioned it before. ISU potentially going back to comfort in what could very well be their last match of the season.
Yeah, this is a difficult situation to be because there's not really an ideal situation. We can kind of harp on the things that confuse us, but for ISU, the most important thing is it makes sense to them.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't make sense to them, then everything is just going to go rabid, and it's not going to be in your favor. I think the big question marks I have is GVU going to turn up the temperature early on inside this game, right?
Yep.
Usually they take a little bit of time to preheat the oven before they start cooking, but in this game, you got a Draven, you got a Nikali, you got a Lee Sin, right?
Yep.
And I do look over at ISU, and I see a Kindred inside this game. So your conditions, right, is Kindred's a weird champion where you have to play a mini game with them. You think that the Kindred's the only one playing the mini game, which is catching all the stacks, but it's really everybody is invited into it. So with the early aggression that GVU could possibly put in, you're looking at who is the Kindred going to try to gank to get those marks, because you want to get 4 marks as quickly as possible. That's the first step of the mini game. And you want to find yourself being able to be in a good position to be able to get your marks on the neutral farm that's out there. Like the Scuttle, you want to win that 50-50, all that. So I feel like it's a very weird game just because of I look at ISU and I'm like, how does the Kindred play their mini game inside of this when GVU is like, hey, we'll play too. Yeah, hey, you want to play games together? Hey, you and me. You and me, yeah, we're go ahead. And Draven will come along too. I got Renata.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It'll be a party. Oh, yeah. Oh, none of your friends showed up. Oh,
Oh.
I'm so sorry. We
Tempos.
actually we sent.
Tempos, where is everyone?
Oh, Tempos gets a call in. Says, "Yeah, I'm kind of stuck under my tower. They shoved in wave on me." You look over to the Camille top, and he's just like, "Yeah, there's a Skarner throwing a rock at me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do against that.
Yeah.
Rock beats scissors, so I don't know, man."
That's perfect. I love that. I know that was off the dome too. You're a gent, man. And not only is there the Kindred mini game, there's also the Bard mini game. So everyone else except Tempos in this one is having fun doing something else. What could potentially aid the Redbirds and what I'm going to be looking for, I talked about it before, the RE wave management. Jinqual is going to have, I think, a more challenging time following around the map on potential roams. So with the Bard, with the Ari, you got a little two-man fighting squad that can maybe help the Kindred play that minigame.
Yeah. What I'm realizing, honestly, is that League, Riot Games likes to put in champions that are very distracting to ADHD gamers out there. I'm just thinking about that. I'm like looking at this and I'm like, yeah, man, there's so many quests that gotta go on. If we had old Skarner in here, we'd have the Crystal Spires quest line in here as well, but we don't have either one of the. We don't have the Skarner. He is for that rework, of course. A lot of engage that will be focused on the Skarner. My other question I will have, I guess, if we are going to talk about different facets of the game, is how does Pluto perform on the Renata? Right, because they're usually primary engage is where they're the most comfortable. Yeah. We've seen people actually three-man ban the champion pool. They usually will ban like Nautilus, Rel, and who else is it?
Rakan.
Oh, Rakan. Thank you. They usually like do a 3-person ban of those, and then they might ban 2 more, but usually Pluto will pick in first rotation. So I am actually very surprised they saved Pluto's pick for last. And it's a Renata, which isn't really known to be a primary engage, but a secondary engage that's also an enchanter. So it's a very interesting thing for Pluto.
Yeah. And hopefully, as we're talking about, the preheating oven, GVU try to cook up another victory. The Draven Nightstar, is that going to pop off in the early game? We've talked about maybe yes, based on Nausicaa roaming around on the Bard, going all over the place. But if it doesn't, GVU have to turn things up in the early game, like you said, preheat it a little bit faster, and honestly change their playstyle a little bit. It's going to be challenging because last game was, despite the lane swap and that surprising us, after the lane swap in the early game, that was signature GVU Vikings gameplay throughout. I feel like, Pluto on the Engager, Nightstar on Kog'Maw, Jinqual on Quay, backline carries popping off, Proctor and Castle doing their thing, finding picks. That is signature GVU. I feel like they maybe struggle to find that in this game if things don't go well in the early game.
I have a very important question for you, Mac.
Go for it.
So casters, right? We like lingo. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but each year, like, casters tend to, like, evolve around certain phrases and certain, like, types. Like, we have, like, clutch things that we like to talk about. And, there's some that we always say, like, throughout a year. For this year, right, like, in previous years, like, to give an example, banger was one, right? Everybody was just like, oh, it's going to be a banger here. Yeah? Yeah, we're going to have a banger. And that happens quite often. I have to say, we've had cooking be our 2024's official
absolutely.
Like casting go-to. Let them cook. Time in the kitchen. There's let them work on the stove top, right? Like, there's been a lot of stuff involves the cooking. Yeah. But Mac, we need to answer a question that no other caster has ever answered before. What do you think a victory tastes like for each one of these teams that are cooking? We never talk about what it tastes like after.
GVU cooking. It's a slow roast chicken, trying to cook the birds. ISU. They're looking for some game rabbit. They're hunting for picks. Bow and arrow with the Kindred. trying to see if they can catch him out.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
it. It's the rabbit. You got maybe a little bit of lamb in there too,
Yeah.
right? And then you got a couple. I would actually throw in that you need a couple extra ingredients aside of ISUs, right? I like the slow cooked
Yeah.
chicken, like the oven roasted chicken, where it's just spinning on the bite. They're like, yeah, they're
Costco
good.
chicken.
Yeah, but ISU, I'm like, all right, you got a melody going on in here, and you need to bring a way to make it sure that all these ingredients kind of come together and they don't taste absolutely ick, because just because the ingredients taste good by themselves doesn't mean they need to be added together. So that's like I wonder if that's what it's kind of like. It's like a good old medley that you don't really get anywhere else, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's
we'll
my-
see.
That's my chef recipe. My the cookbook can be purchased over at the UNC Esports store that does not exist.
Satch. Eventually.
Eventually.
We're cooking it.
I'll write a
It
cookbook.
is in the student store, actually, though. I saw it last time I was
Did
there.
you?
Yeah,
Did
the
you?
travesty cookbook. It was there. It was great.
Oh.
I enjoyed it. Tried
Did-
out the cooking recipe of your signature Kog'Maw, and it had actually a tidbit of the sound that we didn't
Oh,
get
the
to hear
tidbit
last
of
game.
the sound?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little audio file in
Oh,
the
it's the
book.
audio
Yeah,
file?
no, it was sick.
Dude, that's cool. Wait, what does it sound like? Do you know?
I don't.
Oh, dude, I wonder what it's. I wonder if it sounds like
I feel like GVU's going to be hoping to play that victory sound if they can pull off another great game. Travi, bowing to you for that one. That was incredible. We're still waiting to hop into game here. Thinking about, we talked about the compositions a little bit, to talk a little bit more about the players and their stories. Again, last year, Grandview facing, this is a rematch of last year's round one. They somehow managed to find, looking at the bracket, there are matches all over the place. These two teams, the matchup a little bit again. GVU tried to swipe right, and Redbirds are still here, showing up, trying to take them down once more again.
they matched again.
It was crazy.
destiny. It was just destiny at that point in time, It's
Yeah.
a whole year later.
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds? Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? And this time around, it's GVU's the MEC second seed. They actually went through winners bracket wise, handling business as usual, and then grand finals they get 3-0 swept by Purdue Northwest. Not how they wanted the season to end. They were on the dealing end of that sort of MEC final treatment last year against Ottawa. Now they get to know how it feels. Funny enough, MEC second seed last season, Ottawa did win in the first round, taking down UCI. They're still here as well, covering their matchup after this one later tonight. Make sure you guys stick around for that. Me and Travi are in the studio for a while. Very excited to be covering the CLoL National Tourney action. But again, for GVU, defending champs, not a lot of other teams have won the MEC. And so GVU is surprised falling, but now hopefully trying to redeem themselves here in the first round, looking to make it into the Sweet 16.
It will be a song and dance we'll have to see. GVU, they're not out of the woods just yet. They still have to be able to take on the competition at ISU. They're a very tough competitor. They're playing to comfort inside this game, which makes them probably the deadliest that they have ever been, because this is what they are most comfortable with. You never want to mess with something, anybody who has felt like they have been cornered with everything at stake. Their heels, they're over the cliffside at this moment in time. You can hear the waves crashing underneath. ISU don't want to fall just yet. They want to continue their esports journey here inside of the Collegiate Championship. That being said, I believe we should probably get ready to throw it over to a short little break to get ourselves ready. Yeah, we should.
We got to buckle in. This is going to be a close one.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and buckle on in. When we come on back, we'll be going into game number 2. So make sure you do not touch that browser, as we will be right back. All right, here we go. Game number 2. GVU. They're 1 up inside of the game. ISU. Not as lucky. They are fighting for their tournament lives at this current moment in time. Keep an eye out on them as they are going to look for this. And 5-stack possibly happening yet again. They're going to that same bush, Mac.
Hey, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, Proctor. Oh no, he spots him out, Meslo.
Same spot.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't why go out try to get maybe they think, hey, if someone doesn't come immediately, it pays off because who's expecting you in that single bush, right? But Proctor runs up there as quickly as possible. And shout out Nausicaa, Snow Day Bard. Happens to be my favorite Bard skin. You get to throw penguins around and make hot cocoa for your teammates.
I like it for the hot cocoa. Fleet footwork, by the way, as well. So they're looking for those big one hits and then moving moments. So look for them to do a lot of one auto trades and then just be like, I've had enough. It was great talking to you. And they kind of just vamos on over into the river. But, you know, I'm right there with you. I like the strategy. I like the fact that ISU is looking for those early game cheese moments, just because of the fact they have such a strong invade with them pairing this Lutz, the Bard, going together with an Ari and a Camille. Like there's not many teams that have a stronger engage than that. So I like the fact they're going for it, but it's going to be a standard start. Both junglers starting on opposite sides of the map as well. And Nightstar getting a couple more ats catches there. Whoa, look at this. Adoration. Look at me.
And this time we are going to get a normal lane setup. Proctor versus Meslo did not go against each other in game number 1, and immediately Meslo's there, but a solid thumbs up from Proctor as he's going to get all 3 of the melee minions with a single rock. Meslo not going to hold back on the aggression. Proctor missing the ability there. Meslo looking for the empowered auto attack, not going to get it. And as you mentioned, junglers starting on opposite sides of the map. This is going to let Euphoria make sure that the Draven Renata is not going up super hard early on. Proctor, though, forced to flash as Meslo gets level 2 first.
Yeah, this is good for Meslo, of course, to being able to get themselves into this good situation. Not good for Proctor. Proctor's not enjoying this. Meslo has made a career out of being really good inside these situations. But Castle is in here waiting. Says, I am going Kindred's spotting. They want to be able to see if they can spot out the lamb. They know they're exactly there. They got the timer. They're going to take that blast cone over, take away those chickens. But Drew Dozer has the wraparound, jumps over to a ward, and there is Pluto to make sure that they're away. That's their sweet escape. And that's what you get from having that early prio from this Draven Renata.
That's terrifying, but Nightstar dodging the CC abilities, and Nausicaa, another flash missed here for the ISU support, but he's still firing. Euphoria going to slow down Nightstar. They're going to try to slow him down. First blood going over to Drew.
They are just popping off inside of the fight. Renata gets 1 kill as a trade back. ISU just kept going. GVU, we're not ready for that whatsoever.
Wow. And Jinqual, I mean, he's maybe freezing the wave in the mid lane, but this is going to let Euphoria, I think, mosey on down into the bot lane, get that first stack. I'm not sure if he got the first stack off of Castle's death. I know he had Martha Lee Sin. Still, the mark is there, so I don't think. Yep, no stacks for the Kindred early on.
Just got 1.
At the end of the day, I think this is a big win for the Redbirds.
Yeah, just got that 1 off of the Scuttle, right? Like, they were just able to get that 1 stack because it did just spawn on Scuttle. You always had that 50-50 on Scuttle, so good on them to be able to get that. Castle getting a little bit punished. They know the matchup. They know what they want to do. And check out Nausicaa and what they're doing on this bar. They're immediately starting to roam now, and this takes the pressure to where Castle actually cannot just freely take Scuttle.
And again, the lane prio from the Ari pick. Drew Dozer, 2 insane wards placed down, trying to get deep vision, hoping to keep track of Matthew Castleberry as best he can. Bard on the top side of the map. It's how you feared for Tempos' safety in the bot lane as he is left all alone. Nausicaa going to recall, trying to get back down there.
Check out the movement coming across the map, though. Scuttle was grabbed eventually, right? You just had to wait for your time. Bard did reset at this moment in time. This is what we're going to see a lot in this game. Tempos is just going to be laning by themselves. Natsuka's going to come over, hit a couple times. This does mean it's a free lane for Nightstar Pluto until the Bard comes up. The scary thing is Natsuka, if they ever come through the jungle, they can do that magical journey we saw there for First Blood and make them pay. So they have to keep up vision just like this. And check out Nightstar even immediately running at Natsuka the moment they're spotted onto a ward, just saying, all right, let me go ahead and trade blow for you. They get Dragon, and remember, we're on a patch where objectives have been desynced.
Euphoria coming down, maybe looking for a steal, but the Smite Secure comes through in a potential pull. Pluto has a pick.
Hey, you're
Come
going
on.
to find it. Natsuka is
No!
gone.
Oh!
Yeah, no, that magical journey is going nowhere except 6 feet under.
Pluto
Oh,
tried
whoa!
his best. Meslo gets level 6 first.
Yeah, it's going to jump on in, and Meslo taking a good amount of hurt, but with a hook shot. Turnabout is fair play, and Meslo with the solo kill into the top side of the matchup.
Big play, and a note onto the bot side, Travi. Pluto tried everything in his power to get that kill over to Nightstar, but unfortunately the casino was out of money and the adoration stacks are not cashed in. They're not accepting those tickets anymore for the cash prize.
A sad day for the Draven in that situation. They want to be able to find a little bit more of that. They're going for the play. Yo, Jinqual wants smoke. Says, I'll throw it down. I brought it with me. Is laying in the hurt, and it's flawless execution by Jinqual.
Really good. He needs to go out and make plays. He did use his flash for the pick onto Euphoria, and the objective was secured. Here's Nazuka roaming around. Drew Dozer with the ultimate available on the Ahri. Jinqual's got to be careful because, hey, Dash Charm is a really good engage option. Flash still available. Again, he used the flash to pick up the kill onto Euphoria, and here's Nazuka lurking. We don't know the vision. Shout out our producer making me kind of sweat a little bit there for Jinqual. Wasn't sure where Nazuka was going to make the play happen there.
The bad thing is Nazuka doesn't have ult. Like, that's the simple thing, right? Your ganks with Bard, really, they're just, you're coming in and brute forcing somebody. I like this right now, where now there's 2 members. You got the Kindred backing you up when you're Bard. This is where you actually want to do your Bard roaming. Because if you're not level 6, you're actually not having a very big impact on these ganks, unless, of course, Jinqual says, oh, no, look at me. I'm posted up against the wall. Would be ashamed if somebody tethered me to it, you know.
And here is what I was talking about before, the Ahri Bard potential. Drew Dozer level 7. He's going to head on down into the bot lane potentially. Was thinking about it.
Not. He thought about it.
I'm getting antsy, man, with these roams and these players. But in the top lane.
Yep. And they can't get the play. Good flash from Proctor. Gets out of harm's way. And I'm kind of with you. You brought up the Ahri. Ahri's so good at being able to shove and roam. Jinqual is holding the wave like right in front of tower, a lot, like at all time periods, and you can't really like gank to free up pressure on the Ahri. But Jinqual so far has been able to roam a little bit more than the Ahri has, and now they're going to be on the same roam timer. They're looking at a possible dive. This should be enough to fend them all off. Good tether, just should result in a few trades, but game is just about farming. Pluto over here with 2 kills is just like, yo guys, what's the problem?
Yeah, I feel like I'm on a knife's edge after that first blood in the bottom side of the map. I'm expecting a whole lot more action here, but so far the team's trying to maybe slow things down a little bit. Proctor took us, oh gosh, Euphoria able to sneak on through, places the ward, doesn't know if
Castle.
it's available is. They do have that pink ward on the bottom side of the map,
Castle's
still
coming.
doing a whole lot of work. Buckle up. Euphoria's dealing a whole lot of damage, does have the smite available.
Oh.
Gromp not there. Proctor's like, it was there a second ago, bro. I just checked. But you slithering in, Euphoria goes undetected back to their own jungle.
Fun thing about the stacks, right? Like, once they are taken, they do eventually disappear off the map. It takes a while for them to do it. But I like the fact that Euphoria did kind of play that very slow and made sure that there was no variables there and then kited it up, such as that. Now we go into a spot where I believe they're at 2 stacks at the moment. They still haven't found the stack 1 to castle at the moment. And now they're looking for a play bot side.
Both sums.
Want Nightstar. Nightstar has cleanse, has flash, and there is no wave, so they are going to have to chill out. Drew looking for the catch out, hits the charm, hits the stun. That's the tether, and that's a shutdown. Pluto gets dropped as a result. Drew still has one more use of that Spirit Rush, and here comes the Proctor. looking to go ahead and slap some people's wrists with those stingers, but not going to be able to find anybody else. ISU, get out of dodge.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed so far in this game, without the lane swap affecting things, the Redbirds have found their groove in this match, playing with the priority that they're used to. They're a lot more comfortable. Proctor is down significantly. Meslow's Camille is going to be a huge solo threat that the Vikings are going to have to worry about. He has been farming like a madman. He's got an entire level lead on the Skarner. Things are going perfect for the Redbirds. I think exactly what they could have hoped for, but GVU have been stacking dragons. It didn't work out well for the Redbirds in the last match. The Vikings hoping that the dragon can be on their side for this one, as Euphoria isn't going to roam down here. Drew Dozer isn't going to roam down. They're going to get 6 grubs instead.
Yep. GVU, they will stack the dragons. ISU, they're going to have to imagine dragons in this game as they're not going to be able to find any of them. And that's just the nature of this kind of a composition, right? And like you were talking about, grubs are going to be able to get grabbed. This is still a game that I feel like it favors both sides, right? They're very comfortable with both of these options, right? Your Kindred is scaling up and getting stronger as the game is going on. The Draven has actually built up quite a bit of adoration for themselves at this rate. And you're in a good situation for your team to actually like get into this mid-game at a very powerful point.
Jinqual has to have a miracle performance in this one on the Akali. He's gotten 1 kill so far, but just sitting around trying to punish Drew in lane isn't going to be enough here. I think if the Vikings are going to come out on top in Travi, game number 1, the Hex Gates played a huge factor. They're back. Hextech Rift. Prepare for chaos, my friend, because these teams are not afraid to utilize their repositioning impact. And especially, I mean, getting out of the base faster, back onto the map faster. GVU trying to knock down this turret. Nightstar, again, as you mentioned, a whole lot of adoration stacks. It has been a very long time since he has died. 241. It's like getting a huge shutdown for his next kill. We'll see if they can pull it off.
Now we're in a situation, right, where the game is just chill. It's relaxed, right? We can kind of talk about our favorite colors. We can talk about, you know, how the weather is, how we're feeling on the day, our emotional well-being. We can kind of talk about all that.
I'm angsty. I'm angst out, man.
I thought you said angsty, and I was just like, don't. This isn't the time for the angst to come out, Matt. Don't let your teenage angst come out. MCR isn't here right now. You're fine. You're fine. Inside this game, though, I get it. Anxiety is high. This is where this lull hits. It is a different feeling for these players. We're feeling anxious just watching. Imagine what the players are feeling in this moment.
Proctor's been sent down into the bot lane. This is not the Vayne Meslo from game number 1. Meslo is on a different level here in game number 2. He's been playing fantastic. He's a carry for the Redbirds, and he's going to be able to showcase that as Nausicaa on the Bard roaming up. They're going to be looking to make a play happen. GVU, game number 1, made so many plays happen on the top side of the map. This time, Redbirds looking to turn things around. They've got the numbers advantage.
They don't know Castle's here, though. They did not have vision on him at this moment. They do know now, I believe.
Maybe not.
Don't know. He's hiding in this little pocket of the fog of war. So they don't know Castle's here. They just think it's a 2-person dive.
That's 3 on 5.
Here they go. They jump
No
onto
way!
him. Scoop him on up for the play. Euphoria is going to be able to stay safe with the Lance Raspid. They're going to use that hostile takeover to make sure there's havoc on the back end bailout. Nightstar is going to be able to get that cash out. And Castle, you were on top of a ward that entire time. And Castle is the one who makes the play happen. Oh,
ISU.
the final spark! They're not done just yet. And Castle, that's retribution if I've ever seen it. That's a double kill. Drew Dozer is bulldozing through the competition.
Magical journey into the turret?
They're not done. They're going into the turret. You got no minions, no time.
Bailout!
And they got that bailout. They hit that hexagonal prison. But Meslo secures the kill. ISU, they're
2
one to play
items
this.
for Nightstar. Unreal. 7,000 gold.
What a
for
cash
the
out.
GVU.
Woo!
Lottery hits. All 7s on the machine. He's in this game now. The early game might not have been ideal, but as we said with tempos, it's been giving Nightstar a whole lot of time to build up. And I just want to take a moment. Castle, what a kick. What a play. You've got a question mark, Travi. I may have missed it. What you got going
No,
on?
I'm just like, I'm amazed because they were like 2K behind, and now the goal's even. That was a huge bailout. I didn't realize how much of a bailout it was, how much of a cash out that was for the Draven. You were saying 7s across. That's actually, even though ISU got more kills out of it and got more out of it, GVU is the true reciprocant of it. Now you got a 2-item Draven. They've got their Collector. They got their IE.
Huge.
GVU are actually in a really good game state now all of a sudden.
It's all because of Castle. Honestly, it is all because of Castle making an insane play on the Lee Sin. We saw the fog of war. ISU is not ready, and just when they expected at least, the MEC All-Pro, he was number 1, right? Didn't he? Wasn't he on the first team for MEC All-Pro? I think he got it over Doubtful. According to the votes, we had our pod voting, and he got second team in that. But I think in the
official voting,
voting, he got first team, and you
was
get
also
to see
a runner-up for MVP.
And yeah, it's plays like that that really showcase that ability from Castle. Proctor 4v1, man, maybe he goes in the wall. But
no, there's no place. You have no place.
Look at Tempos though in the mid lane. He's got to run.
Yeah, they're going to call in Herald. They're going to go for the play mid. There's nobody here to defend this. Tempos cannot stay around for too terribly long, right? Like, good play. It will be a trade at the end, but Nausicaa is able to rejoin. Great thing about Bard, you can just kind of move around like that. Teleport used by Drew. They were thinking about doing a Spirit Rush over the chicken wall, I believe, but they did walk up wisely. So, good stuff on GVU.
Deep breath. Angst, go away. It's time to lock in. It's a very close game, too, with no significant leads for across the board. But Drew is having an awesome game on the Ari, 4-1-2 so far, and Meslo 2 kills on the Camille.
Mac, you keep saying angst, and I'm just thinking you're getting really edgy over here. You're just like, nobody understands me. Mom never understood me.
They don't understand my comp, bro.
They don't
see the vision.
They don't see the vision in my graph. You know, like it's not a phase, Mom. Like,
Mage bots aren't a phase.
You guys can't see it because the camera's not on this screen. But Mac, every time he does it, he's been doing these weird hair flips every now and then. It's been strange.
Oh gosh, we get a little bit. We were talking about the lull before. Without any major objectives on the map right now, Jinqual's going to look for another pick here. He's got 4 levels on Nausicaa, but doesn't know where too many other people are on the map. Decides to, hold it in, bottle that anger, and save up for another big play moving forward. Most gold in the game, Nightstar by 1,000 gold over Meslo. Over 3,000 lead on Tempos, but it's how the Draven had hoped to perform here. Nightstar capitalizing on the early game. It was a huge deciding moment. We're talking about mini games, and Nightstar popping off thanks to Castle early before. And we get a breather. He's just farming up in the mid lane now.
I wonder how many stacks the Draven has now. Like, how much adoration the Draven has at this current moment in time. It looks like 105, 106, yeah. So they've already stacked up their adoration to a pretty good spot, right? It's adequate for somebody of the caliber of Nightstar, right? They're used to, screaming fans in the streets whenever they go out. But, on this game here, another cash out will set them over and give them, yet again, probably a whole nother completed item at this rate, because we're looking at the Nets fight being around an objective around this dragon. They got a teleport coming in. They want the play. They are going for Meslo. Goes for the Hex Tech over onto the side. Check out Nausicaa holding back the rest of the side. And they are going to continue laying it in.
Gotta be careful.
Beautiful Bard ultimate. Nightstar is completely safe. They got that hostile takeover. It hits onto 2 members on the backside of the fight. And Nausicaa finishes off Pluto on the back end. It is completely unlocked for the side of GVU as they get caught out trying to rotate on ISU.
The mobility of the Redbirds, it's like seeing them in flight. They can go wherever they please. They got the Ari ultimate. Kindred can hop over walls. And then the magical journey. Nausicaa on the Bard is having a fantastic game, making plays happen. Awesome ultimate to catch out Pluto there. Hostile takeover doesn't really do a whole lot. Everyone's able to dodge out of the way. Lamb's Respite wasn't even used to make that pick happen. It is a tough ISU comp to play in. You do have to execute for Nightstar to hopefully burst people out. He might get a completed item here or get really, really close to his third item. So he didn't get that cash in there. Only kill going over to the Redbirds. And taking a moment here, Jinqual 1-0, relatively quiet so far in this one. It's a lot harder, I think, to have the same level of DPS impact that he had in game number 1 on the Akali compared to the Hui. And we'll have to see if he can make those picks happen on the back end. It's hard to lock down Drew. Tempos is maybe your target or maybe Nausicaa, but again, it's I think a tough game for Jinqual to try to navigate here.
You really want to pair up with somebody, right? You want to pair up with Castle and look for something. Look for a possible catch out like that. Another Bard ultimate, greatly used, but check out Proctor onto the side. Is able to hold back 3 members with that Impale, but Euphoria is free hitting onto the side of the fight. Nausicaa's got down very low, and that is a cash out. Adoration completely cashed on out, and it was a shutdown. They got a 1,500 gold bounty off of that as well, as Nausicaa had a bounty.
He's at 10K, 11K. Look at it, Travi.
Look, it's disgusting. But wait, they're trying to rip Baron.
They got blue orb. They see it. Shout out Proctor in that last fight. 3-man ulti Baron. Without a major tank, it is so hard to take for the Redbirds. They got to wait a little bit longer. Pluto might get caught out again. There's Meslo hunting.
They're going. They're trying to see if they can find somebody to be able to lay in the hurt. They do not want to let this Draven back and hit that power spike. They're sitting on a lot of gold. Charm hits, and the hostile taker is going to be able to hit onto only one member as they go berserk. Meslo over onto the side. It's going to be caught out of position using the headset ultimatum. Has to run out of dodge, and Drew gets flawlessly executed upon as the axe falls upon their neck. And ISU, all of a sudden, things were looking so good, but just a little bit of a change and pivot around, and now a tether to be able to hit. ISU trying to recover, and they hit onto Nightstar. Shutdown goes over the way of Nausicaa. They're still not done just yet. The Bard ultimate to be able to come on out and say onto the backside. The teleport coming in. The numbers advantage is going to be evened up very soon. And Jinqual with flawless, perfect execution. They wipe out the rest of the members, and GVU, they come out on top.
What a fight from the Vikings. Pluto in chat. Holy ha! Indeed, my friend. What a fight that was. Nightstar coming up shortly. They do not have their major DPS. Teleport's coming in. It's the solo laners and Tempos.
Drew's caught out of position. They get tethered on the play. They have to use their Spirit Rush immediately to stay alive. They got one more charge of it.
Here's Nightstar!
Nightstar wants sweet, sweet vengeance. Charm only hits onto a wolf, and Castle's coming on over. You're out of charges. You're out of hope. You're out of any way to get out of here as Proctor comes on in. Drew, not long for the world, but they did their job. They got him off of the Baron. But because of this, now, for the first time inside of game number 2, GVU have the gold lead.
Wow. These two teams so close, 11 kills apiece, only 2,000 gold separating them here at the 23.5-minute mark, Travi. And what a sequence that was. Really solid plays, kind of breaking down that last sequence of events. Euphoria goes down. There's a solo kill going on. It's the Jinqual show.
Yeah.
Talking about having him. It's a tough game for him to navigate, but here he is doing it so well, winning the 1v1 in the side lane against Meslo. What a play there for the GVU mid laner, the MEC MVP 502. And look at that Dark Seal, Travi, on the scoreboard. That's 10 stacks, baby.
If you were familiar with Jinqual only through the time that they were able to play in the previous year, you didn't get to catch him inside of MEC. This was a player who got MVP, was up in contention for most improved player, despite already being a phenomenal player. That sets a standard when you are the person putting the bar that you have to raise. Jinqual putting on display that they are absolutely him, and they're going to continue trying to do that inside the game. 5-0-2. They are completely online. You were asking for it. Hey, yo, Jinqual, you're kind of looking, 1-0-0. You want to go out there and do something. And you were like, Jinqual heard you, said, yo, bring it. Come on, let's do it. Look at this.
Do it again.
They're doing some Meslo hunting season right now.
He's got his ultimate. Euphoria's recalling.
They
Ward does spot him. but he's got a 2-level lead on Meslo. He's got a 3-level lead on Drew Dozer. The CS advantage he has built up is nothing short of a huge game changer here in game 2. Drew taking the Hex Gate. Castle is here. Nazca's going in as well. Jinqual 1v3. Can he pull it off? Going in the brush.
They are going to stay alive for a little bit longer. They have a bit of outplay potential. They get out just fine.
How? He's a ninja! Euphoria!
Look at this! Euphoria! So the headset guy didn't realize that there was no friends, no allies, only enemies on the side.
Pluto, stop talking like that in all chat, man. You are that is too funny. Dragon spawning in just under 100 seconds. Are you going to say...
Don't turn off the chat! No, I want to see what Pluto has to say.
We got to focus. It's a big kick.
Big kick. Hostile takeover is going to be able to hit onto just one member as the Magical Journey gets the Bard away from the action. Drew over onto the side. Not be able to position themselves to be able to get onto a carry. Castle drop down very low. Has to use the smite to stay alive, but the final spark will be able to seal the deal as Meslo finds a kill onto the side of the fight. Jinqual in the midst of 4 was in the midst of it. It's a familiar territory, but this time you don't have the shroud. You don't have safety. You have no refuge, no sanctuary. GVU find themselves back on the tail.
Unbelievable. Nightstar has got to be careful in this mid lane. He has the potential. There's no ultimate on the side of Euphoria, but he gets rooted.
Has to cleanse. Cleanse immediately. Teleport coming over onto the side. Drew Dozer is here. Spirit Rush is not up. Still have about 5 seconds left on that one. But what this does mean is they're in position for the Baron.
Jinqual does have teleport. Castle can take the Hex Gates. This is a squishy Redbird comp. Taking Baron is challenging, but they're going to do it without any issue, Travi. A huge swing, but pointed at the map. You see it. Dragon is up. Baron Nashor for Hextech Soul is the decision.
They will be able to secure this for themselves. They
No
buy
way.
some time. Bard will be able to do it. They got a TP. It's Meslo coming in on the flank. They want to be able to get on the Nightstar. They find the angle. Nightstar, go ahead and use that cleanse to be able to stay alive inside the fight. Teleport coming around onto the back end of the fight. Check out Jinqual. They're going for the assassination. Tempos gets dropped down as well. Shutdown going over.
It's
GVU
Jinqual
running
time.
wild.
It's
the
Jinqual
hostile
time.
takeover goes through. Headset ultimatum keeps him alive for a little bit longer. But Meslo, you're going to get a foot to the face. Double kill goes out. And GVU, they get Soul. They get their kills. They get everything they could desire.
If Grump stomped his back, that would have been the funniest thing in the world. Grump was running him down in the street. He was like,
unofficial GVU member.
Yeah, right? It was absurd. 1,000 gold separates these teams. I believe Drew got out with Baron buff. Look at the Draven. 14,000 gold, but you got to play carefully. It's a long way away from over. I want to take a moment. We've got QSS. We've got Mikhail's Crucible, and we've got Cleanse. Nightstar does not want to get CC'd in these fights. He's going to pray for not getting caught out, but Nausicaa with the Bard ultimate, that's something that can't really be QSS, Travi, so we'll have to see if the Vikings are able to position themselves. They did secure, very importantly, the Hextech Soul. ISU tried to buy time. They had the teleports. They had to play, but GVU fast with it. They get it as soon as it spawns, start DPSing it, and it works out in their favor.
I told you inside the last game, though, Mac, right? One thing that we can't put gold value on is those dragons. With Dragon Soul, this is Hextech Soul that you have now. This is pretty big for these damage dealers. Jinqual cut out of position again. The Shroud is going to be enough to buy it some time. Charm doesn't find anybody inside of the fight, and Skarner is running wild. Goes in for the Impale. Is going to be able to find the suppression onto one member. They find a hostile takeover. Nightstar finds Meslo, and check out Nightstar on the side of the fight. They're just free hitting, free firing, but the Kindred is doing the same. They're going to be able to get that Lamb's respite.
You're stuck in here.
Now it's just one more auto, but the Kindred finishes things off. Finds the triple kill, but GVU, they still got members, they still got numbers. They were playing with portals. Have you ever thought with portals inside of League of Legends? Well, now you had Nausicaa able to survive throughout some clever usage.
Gosh. What a sequence as the GVU ISU series continues to challenge my thinking of League of Legends. Here I am. My simple monkey brain can't think with portals like that, Travi. Absolutely unreal as ISU tries to hang on. But as you mentioned it before, Proctor despite Meslow's early lead, he's only at 184 CS right now. He's not extended it super well into the mid to late game here now. Struggled in the side lane. Jinqual's had a part to play in that 272 CS on the Akali carry, back up to 10 stacks on the Darksteel. And because Meslo is kind of slowed down, Proctor's been able to catch up and have very huge impact in the team fights. Drew, Tempos, Nazuka struggled to deal with the Skarner. He's got Force of Nature. Haven't seen the item recently because of the new MR item that gives a shield. I can't think of the name.
Kanik.
First time
Recurrent.
color caster over here. I don't know all the item names just yet, but anywho, co-casters got me, production's got me. Appreciate you guys keeping me honest. Let's see Jinqual hunting in the jungle. He's not hunting rabbits. He's looking for more CS. 275. Keep on counting.
Yeah, what's that flame horizon at this moment in time, right? Both the Draven and Akali have gotten so much gold funneled into them. And we talked about it at the end of game one. Of course, that was more definitively in the fashion of GVU and how they wanted to play the game. However, this one has kind of fallen back to the same old strategy, right? Castle is the glue that leads you to early to mid. And then you have Proctor and Pluto, who are the playmakers inside the fights, buy space, and Jinqual, Nightstar. It's time. Have the gold. Have the influence over the map. Whatever you need, you got it. What do you need from us? We'll support it for you. You want a water bottle king? I got you. They're going to make sure that they are taken care of inside the match. You can see it inside the gold. They are making sure this Akali and Draven, the center focuses of this composition, are able to continue getting that gold to be able to pop off.
And what's absurd, thinking about the series of events that's happened in this game, how many times in a row has ISU tried to catch out Jinqual in the side lane, and very rarely have they succeeded in trying to do that. He has been a slippery ninja, hiding in the leaves like the knight, unable to get caught. But here's a three-man Proctor. He's going to defend the team!
He completely defends the team. Checking out the teleport coming around on the side. Proctor had so much HP they had to get burned through. But the house-style takeover hits on the three members, leading them to be completely disrupted. Euphoria is gone. That is a shutdown for the Draven. He gets collected, but the portal comes in. Time to take a magical journey. And Pluto, it's going to be your gravestone. That's the destination as they just wipe out two key members from GVU. They're continuing to press in deep. They're going in under two towers now. Meslo taking a good amount of damage. Jinqual thinking about calling that Shuriken. But it is just going to be a game of holding down the inhibitor. ISU get to come out on top of the play.
Nightstar uses all of his summoner spells to try to survive. Neutral objectives are out on the map in spades. Jinqual looking for a pick. Drew survives but doesn't get to recall. Elder is on the map. Baron is on the map. Heck gates galore. Magical journey galore. There is so much mobility. Travi, I see you.
Kitcher's not up. Kitcher's not up. They just got up on side of the play. They're going to have to go for a TP. They're going to be having a numbers disadvantage inside of it. Drew just going to come in a little bit closer than before. That's too close for them. That's danger close in this exchange. Meslo coming around onto the side trying to find the catch out onto Nightstar. Is going to be able to do just that. They keep him alive for just long enough. And Nightstar lives. Drew Dozer slain. Meslo slain. Euphoria just got back up. Slain. They are knocking each and every single member. ISU baby! Like dominoes. They will fall down. An ace for GVU. And they're marching down the mid lane.
The Vikings find their place on the shore. They are breaching the village gates now as the mid lane inhibitor falls. Pluto, nice flash there, bud. Nexus turrets are next on the back of a massive performance. Jinqual, I called you out. Can you have a big game? They're moving on to the Sweet 16.
There you go. Second seed from MEC. They might have been dethroned inside of their conference, but they come in, they hit a clutch moment, they get the play that is needed. Absolute phenomenal stuff from the Vikings. GVU.
Wow.
Good affair from them, and you really got to credit a lot of the playmaking that came out. There were so many things. That was not a game that they were in control of for a good bit of time. And they just kind of, they kept their eye on the win condition. They knew what was going to win them the game, and they never said, all right, you know what? we have a Draven.
Yeah.
Draven doesn't scale. There's no way he'll get any gold. They're like, yo, let him stack up that
Yeah,
adoration.
just get him
yo.
3 cleanses.
Yeah, give him 3 cleanses. Let him get a like 2,000 gold cash out.
Yep,
You know, like
yep, hit the lotto. Wow. What a series. GVU take it 2-0 in revenge from 2023 national tournament. ISU falls in the first round as Grandview is going to be moving on. I believe they face the winner of the Winthrop series in the second round. If I spent enough time looking at the bracket for coding my website, I think that's the matchup that I potentially had. I had GVU winning here, so my bracket's looking pretty good, Trav.
me too.
Let's
me
go.
too. High five. Oh yeah, wait.
Yes,
we had the
bracket seed. Oh, huge. Let's go. We do have it. I was right.
You were
Winthrop
right.
versus Campbellsville. The winner will face Grandview. And potentially, we got 2 MEC teams
That's
on,
actually-
on this corner of the bracket.
It's actually kind of crazy too that we because Campbellsville is a team that played inside of our MEC Clash.
Yep, absolutely.
Earlier on inside of it, they came in I think 4th or 5th place inside of the tournament.
They were out here.
So it's
did pretty
actually they can be like an unofficial 3rd. So we have 3 MECs. No, I'm just playing, but yeah, it's what a good game though. GVU. I love the fact that they kind of play their style. I've always been a very hard critic about their style going into pretty much like the national level, right? Because their style is very much so like
It reminds me of TSM and them going to international.
yeah. It's like you're pretty good inside your conference, right? Who knew that the conference, this conference here, where they've scaled up, players have been getting most improved awards, right? Like people have been getting nominated as like
Yeah.
they've been improving their style. I mean, this is a great thing. I think the GVU players have a lot to be happy about right now.
Yeah, shout out. They win MEC last year and lose in the first round. Now they get second seed but win in the first round. I don't know which one ends up working out feeling better, but either way, at the end of today, they're going to be feeling good about their performance. What a series of games. Here I was thinking, oh, we're going to get classic GVU. We get Pluto on some engaged champion. You get the lane swap in game number 1, and you get Jinqual showing off his Akali here on the national stage. Again, I said it before. I called him out. 1-0-0 turned into 10-1-7. Wow.
One cash out.
Wow.
One cash out. All you
That's all
need
it
for
takes.
the Draven. The Akali performance was great.
Yeah.
The Renata was great. I mean, you look over GVU and you can sing their praises. ISU, I'm sad that they had to play against GVU here, but I'm also happy because they got their vengeance. They got to have a very good match. It was a banger series, right? Like, a lot of these matchups in round of 32 looked insane on paper, and
Yeah.
this was one of the ones I was looking forward to the most. So I'm very happy that we did get to see it, but I'm also sad because this does mean ISU, they don't make it to the double elim part of it, so this is where you have to say farewell to them. And
Yeah.
they're a very talented roster as well, full of a very interesting draft style. And honestly, with that comfort that they drafted in the early game, I did kind of look over and go, okay, hold up. The comfort was key, actually. They're doing some good things. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to do it for our first series. But Travi, we've got another one coming up. Mark your clock, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got our next series covering another MEC squad that found their way in the national bracket. It's Levi and the Ottawa Braves coming up soon.
yeah, they'll be coming up at 8 o'clock. So make sure you stay tuned. Go get yourself some hydration, some food, and we'll see you at 8 o'clock Eastern, as my co-caster just said.